Good morning explorers and welcome to another YouTube video. Today I'm in Hendon at the RAF Museum. Behind me you can see a spectacular RAF Spitfire Mark 9. It's a replica made up to look like one of the aircraft that flew from RAF Hendon when this was an active RAF base. So today we're going to have a look around the museum. Let's dig in. Behind me we have a Hurricane, and what people aren't broadly speaking aware of is that the Hurricane's job was to shoot down bombers. The Spitfire's role was to shoot down the fighters, which is why there were so many variants of the Spitfire, because as the enemy's fighter quality improved, we had to continually improve the Spitfire. One of the most notable improvements was the switch to the Griffin engine, which when the Spitfire switched to the Griffin engine, it went from around 1100 horsepower to over 2300 horsepower. It had many other advantages, as well as being fuel injected, which meant it could do steeper dives without stalling out on the carburettor. So the development of the Spitfire is legendary because its job was to shoot down fighters, whilst the Hurricane, still a brilliant aircraft, its role was predominantly designed to go against the bombers.
Air and space power gives us the freedoms we need to conduct any military operation in the air, on land, or at sea. That operation could be an immediate disaster relief.
They have the legendary Sea King RAF Rescue. And above us, Hawker Siddeley, now BAE Systems Hawk, in the absolute famous colours of the red arrows. Above us we have the famous Supermarine Spitfire. Two easiest ways to tell a Spitfire: those gorgeous elliptical wings, and then if you look at the cockpit, it's got a domed canopy that's one solid piece, as opposed to the Hawker Hurricane having panels in the sliding section. Above us here we have an F-35. The British use the F-35B, which is the short takeoff vertical landing variant. We also have the A, which is the standard variant, and the C, which is Cato Bar. Cato Bar standing for Catapult Assisted Takeoff, but Assisted Recovery, which for those of you who are Top Gun fans, that's how Pete Mitchell takes off and lands. Here we have a short Sunderland, and for those of you that are subscribers to my channel or have watched a few of my videos, you'll know that there is a video there where we visited the Shorts Brothers tunnels near Rochester, where they built tunnels for air raid shelters for their staff, as well as a small area as an underground factory for the most sensitive equipment to get moved to. The Short Sunderland, anti-submarine warfare patrol aircraft. You can see the depth charges slung under the wings, presumably the hatch there to be able to reload them. She's a seaplane, so she can land on the sea. Makes it ideal for rescue of pilots. And talking of rescue of pilots, we'll very shortly go out and see the other method during World War II that pilots could be rescued. One of the things we've learned during air combat is the most valuable thing we have is not the aircraft, it is the pilot, which is why there is extensive training given, and also the Royal Air Force use multiple ways of rescuing their downed pilots. Behind me are the boats that would have been used in World War II to rescue pilots. These would have been based down on the south coast, and they'd have gone into the channel to pick up our boys that had gone in the drink, get them back flying again. If you think about what's happening in Ukraine today, the problem of converting their pilots to fly on the F-16 is the number of F-16s that they've got. It's the time it takes to train a pilot to be combat ready on an aircraft. So these boats, they would have gone out to sea, they'd have picked up the boys that had gone in the sea, they'd in the drink, they'd have been picked up, got back to the squadrons after they'd been patched back up again. What we have here is, it looks like this could have been the original hangar, as well as on top the original control tower. The hall is filled with replica, presumably, World War I era aircraft. It's warm in here. Unfortunately, we can't go to the watchtower because it's been roped off. Up there would have been the original control tower. The building we have here is the parachute packing shed. We're able to tell that because of the raised central section of the roof. The restaurant here was originally a loading bay and offices, but it lay empty for 30 years. And then the building here is and was a workshop. I don't know if the microphone's picking that up, but you can actually hear the machinery. The RAF was the first military air force formed in the world. It was formed by a merger of the Royal Flying Corps and the Navy Air Service. They were combined to form the RAF during World War I. Now we enter my favourite part of the museum, Cold War. They have a Jaguar ground attack. One of my favourite planes. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. In front of me we have the Panavia Tornado, affectionately called the Tonka. I don't know if you can make it out, it's a Reaper drone. If planes had grandparents, you can just make out the Harrier hiding behind the Buccaneer. You've got BAE Harrier, was actually Hawker originally, it was a Hawker Harrier. Here we have the Blackburn Buccaneer. There we have the famous, if you're into your Cold War, WE-177C nuclear freefall bomb. The nose section of a Hercules. The nose section of a Chinook. I'm fortunate that I usually a couple of times a month get an overflight of a Chinook, and I will try to post a video I made a couple of years ago when they must have been practicing manoeuvres over the village where I live, and they were flying very low and not slow. Probably were flying slow for them, but not what I thought was slow. Let's go have a look in the Chinook. Those of you who've ever wondered what the inside of a Chinook looks like, I have to say I'm gutted it's not a full-size replica. I would love to have gone in the tail ramp. Of a full-size Chinook. Sadly, they've not allowed us to go into the Hercules. There we have the back of the Hawker/BAE Harrier. I think that's in Cold War configuration because of the rocket pods. It's also in ground attack. There's no air-to-air missiles on it. Blackburn Buccaneer. Buccaneer last used in the Gulf War I. Oh, there's a ladder. There's a ladder, we can have a look. My friends describe it in places like this as an excited schoolboy. Guilty as charged. Let's go up and have a look. Never thought she was the prettiest plane in the world, but what she lacked in looks, I'm told she made up for in capabilities. The ejector seat. I will have to do a bit of an additional video at the end of this about the ejector seat, because there is an actual club for people that have punched out, as it's called. There's a club for people that have punched out of aircraft and you become a member, and it's a very elite club, and it's all the people that the ejector seat has saved because there was an accident and they could punch out. And here we are back to the Tonka. And the Tonka's replacement. The Tornado started off as an air defence plane and went to become a multi-role bomber, which is pretty much what this girl did. She's a Eurofighter Typhoon. As ever, if you like the content, please give it a like. If you like the channel, please give the channel a subscribe. And if you think I'm doing a great job, please buy me a coffee using the link on screen. Thank you. I'm not sure, but I don't think that's going to fly. I think it's missing something. English Electric Lightning, the only aircraft I know that carries the fuel pods on the upside of the wings. She was very quick, very powerful, and to this day very popular with aviation enthusiasts. One of the earlier Cold War interceptors, designed to take off, get to altitude and shoot down enemy bombers that would be trying to bomb the British cities. Hawker Hunter, ground attack / fighter. I believe she was more designed for ground attack than as a fighter. There you have the cannons that were fitted to the Hunter and the magazine on top. Here we have a Jet Provost. Jet Provost is a training aircraft, so this would be the second major stage of flight training with the RAF. You'd get your experience on a single engine propeller aircraft, something like a Gnat, and then you'd progress to a jet engine trainer such as the Jet Provost. No trip to the RAF Museum would be complete if we were to forget the F4 Phantom. For those of you who watched Threads recently, you'll know this from the film. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this could be a Navy version because it's got the fold wingtips. I don't know if the RAF versions also had the fold-up wingtips. Now the great news is this one we can actually go in and have a look at the cockpit, so I'm going to wander around to the cockpit. I'm going to keep filming so you get a feel of the aircraft. Obviously this is an American aircraft, not British. Thank you. Truly massive aircraft. I never found it to be the prettiest of aircraft. So you've got your backseat driver. There you have the taxi driver. Hiding over the back. Tonka. So let's go have a look at the Tonka on it. So here we get a closer look at the Pan Avenue Tornado. One of my favourite aircraft, probably a little bit biased. It's my era of plane, I remember it. Flying over the house. You got your auto cannon, an experience of the Vietnam War. Sadly can't get up to the cockpit on this one, but still a beautiful aircraft. As I said earlier, it was used for ground attack and was used for air interception. It was a fighter. We have, next to the Tornado, we have this, a Wessex. What makes this Wessex special, because we're going to go down and see another Wessex, because the colours kind of give away its role. It was the Royal Squadron, used for transporting VIPs. Her Majesty, His Royal Highness Prince of Wales, as was, now His Majesty. Chipmunk. Here we have the Chipmunk that went round the world, round the top of the world, sorry. Another Wessex, this time in the famous yellow for RAF Rescue. Come around and have a full look at it. Don't know what this one is. It's a Gazelle. Oh, sorry, this is a Westland Whirlwind, not a Wessex. Sycamore. Sadly, you won't see the yellow much in the UK anymore, because the search and rescue role that predominantly actually rescued civilians in peacetime has been contracted out privately. Let's continue our tour. We're now going to head back up here and we're going to have a look at some Second World War era aircraft. Things are a little bit mixed up in here, but they are fairly grouped together. But back opposite the Tonka, we've got some Second World War aircraft. Then we're going to go to the other side of the hangar, where we're going to have a look at other Second World War aircraft. Stick in. The beautiful Hawker Hurricane. If memory serves, the Hawker Hurricane was a wooden frame, and its stablemate here, the Supermarine Spitfire. This is presented as a Mark 1A. Note the number of propeller blades. That can be quite a giveaway on what mark you're looking at. The later the mark, the more the propeller blades it tended to have. Again, if you look, what I said earlier, you can see the Spitfire canopy there. It's kind of a single piece slidey section. It's slightly domed. If we go back to the Spitfire, sorry, back to the Hurricane even, you can see the Hurricane has panels and is relatively flat. Look at the size of that. Absolutely stunning. That gives you some idea as to the size of the bomb bay and what it could take. really is no prizes for guessing what this plane is. Or what these bombs are. There's a Grand Slam. And that's a £12,000 bomb. 12 ton. I really don't think I can give you an indication of the size of this aircraft. It is gargantuan. The primary bomber for RAF Bomber Command during World War II. Now we have my favourite Cold War aircraft, the Vulcan. Literally as big as the Lancaster, but nowhere near, I don't believe, the bomb load. Whilst it could take a lot of bombs, it didn't have the capacity in terms of sheer weight. If you know anyone that knows any details about the capacity in weight for a Vulcan, leave a comment. I'd love to know. I think it had the same cubic inch capacity. Oh, there you go. Actually, here we go. £21,000. We'll have to go back and have a check, because I think this is almost the capacity. Don't forget there was a £22,000 Grand Slam. That's £1,000 less. The last time these were used was actually only in 1982, Operation Black Buck. Some might have remained in service as tankers to refuel. It's got the nose cone of a Hadley Pace Victor with its drogue. And there you have another drogue. That's a refueling pod. So that'll give you some idea. The drogue would extend, aircraft would hook up with their refueling receptacle. Very much like that. A useless piece of information for you is that the Vulcan had 4 Rolls-Royce Olympus engines. The Olympus engine is most famous for being in Concorde, but its stablemate, the Marine Olympus engine, powered the Ark Royal, the Invincible, the Illustrious, the British aircraft carriers. It powered the 1980s destroyers that were used by the United Kingdom's Royal Navy. Very famous engine, very good engine. I believe there's a story that one of the carriers sailed for Falklands, had a problem with one of its engines, had to do, I believe it was a gearbox change. Should have been 2 weeks in dry dock. Why do you need dry dock when you've got Chinooks? So they did a change at sea. Leave a comment below if that's a true story. I'd love to know more information on it. A lot of these stories can be apocryphal. Let me know. You can follow us on social media, on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/bunkerbonkers, on X, x.com/bunkerbonkers, or on Threads, threads.net/@bunkerbonkers. Here we have a Typhoon, as you can see from the wings, has ground attack for close air support, and it has large cannon, presumably dual purpose. Again, made by Hawker. So this is a fighter and ground attack. The difference between ground attack and bombers at this stage was your bombers were more strategic, higher altitude, designed to effectively level cities. Your ground attack, now known under the term close air support, is when you need specific targets knocking out, and you can give your troops on the ground close air support. Thank you for joining me on a YouTube video. I hope you have found this video entertaining and informative. I'm sure I've got some facts and figures wrong. If I have, please drop me a comment below. Please be kind though. I do my best to get my facts right, but it is all coming out of grey matter because there's just simply not enough time to revise and review every single piece of information I give. So if I made a mistake, please just gently put me right and we can look into making sure I make fewer mistakes. Thanks again for joining us. Please drop me a like if you've enjoyed the video, and if you like the channel, do subscribe. Take care. Thanks now. Bye.